Okay, on to the second story. So speaking of Matt Dillahunty, how's that for a segue? I was watching Cult of Dusty last week, and warning, this is going to be a drama-heavy segment. And I know what you might be saying. Hey Phil, you went out of your way not to mention that other YouTuber's name, and now you're gonna wallow in drama. Yes, perhaps I'm being a bit hypocritical here, but in fairness, that involved a young girl who was wrestling with addiction, and this involves two grown-ass men. That's my rationale anyway. I know Dusty's a bit of a controversial figure in his own right, but I remember watching him talk about the subject I'm about to broach, and someone in the comments section was like, big minds talk about ideas and small minds talk about people, as if trying to shame Dusty for daring to cover it. And I get why people might find it distasteful to give any time to these drama or gossip stories, but I think often people, myself included, for better or worse, can't help but to be drawn to this sort of thing. And if you're in the comments section objecting to my coverage, then that probably means you're no exception, you're here too. Plus, I've covered my fair share of weighty topics, even produced more than my fair share of religious and historical documentaries, so I'm giving myself permission to do some dumpster diving. Let's go slumming. So this story involves two high-profile atheists, Matt Dillahunty and David Silverman. You guys might remember a while back I covered sexual misconduct allegations against David Silverman, the former president of American Atheists, and that episode was so long ago I can barely remember what I said, but I'm pretty sure the gist of my reaction, as it usually is with these he said, she said cases, is that we should stress how serious and abhorrent sexual assault and harassment are, and do our best to speak out against it, to strongly denounce and condemn such behavior, and that we should take allegations seriously. But also, in these, once again, these he said, she said cases, we should also have a responsibility to stress the difference between allegations and proven fact, and that, sometimes people are falsely accused, and we want to avoid leading a witch hunt against someone who's yet to be proven guilty. And if I remember correctly, there were a couple of women making allegations against Silverman. I think one accused him of some kind of sexual impropriety at a conference. I think her story was that he used his power as the head of American Atheists to offer her a job in exchange for sex, and they did end up having a sexual encounter. The second woman, who only went by the initial R, shared her story with BuzzFeed, and the picture she painted was that Silverman was this kind of rough, domineering guy who, acting on the knowledge that she was supposedly into BDSM, pushed himself on her and forcefully accosted her. Silverman lost his job with American Atheists, was pretty much written off as a pariah by the quote-unquote atheist community, and has now literally resorted to selling insurance because of his difficulty finding work. And so Silverman has finally spoken out. He recently sat down for a long interview with Atheist Republic. You can find it on YouTube. I think it's about an hour or two in length. And credit where credit's due, I found out about the Atheist Republic video via Dusty's stream. According to Silverman, regarding the first accusation, he admits to having sex with the conference goer, but he claims he was upfront with her and said after she asked him about a job, told her there wouldn't be any, and if they had sex, it wouldn't be in exchange for that. And things get pretty raunchy, so if you have sensitive ears, here's your warning. He didn't have a condom, so he asked her if anal was all right, and she supposedly agreed, and they had consensual intercourse. Also, I think Silverman said that he was in his 30s when this went down, and he's in his early 50s now. So a while ago, not saying that if some kind of sexual transgression or assault occurred, that, the passage of time should make it more acceptable. I'm just trying to, give some context. Silverman does admit, even according to his account, that it was wrong and irresponsible as a representative of American Atheists to engage in sexual contact with a conference attendee. As far as the second allegation goes, this is where things get really wild. According to Dusty Smith, the accuser, known simply as R, is Matt Dillahunty's wife, allegedly No one sue me. That's what Dusty's saying. And Dusty, he's been around for a while, and he does have connections in the kind of, the old school atheist community. And now Silverman is planning on suing. And he does say in that Atheist Republic video that he is suing these people, but he doesn't mention them by name. So according to what Dusty's saying, this would mean that he's planning on suing her, the accuser, Dillahunty's wife, Dillahunty, and American Atheist. The wife because of false allegations, Dillahunty for supposedly trying to have him blacklisted, and American Atheist for dumping him without any evidence that he had actually done what he had been accused of. So the picture Silverman paints is that Dillahunty and his wife are swingers, and the wife is into BDSM. Also, he had been close friends with both of them. I believe this also happened at some kind of atheist conference or event. Supposedly, according to Silverman, Dillahunty's wife had been openly hanging on him all night, including trying to kiss him, etc., in view of others. And Silverman claims he has others willing to attest to this. They wanted to hook up, but Dillahunty, despite being in open marriage, didn't want her to go to bed with Silverman specifically for some reason. Maybe because they were friends and thought it would make things too weird or awkward, I don't know. Or maybe Dillahunty was threatened or jealous of Silverman in some way. But anyway, the two go on to engage in sexual intimacy despite Dillahunty's objections. I believe he and his wife were conversing off and on by phone. It's not like he was in the room getting cucked. I hate the word cuck, but finally a legitimate reason to use it. So I told you guys this, I don't know, man. There goes the monetization. We're slumming. Things are getting crazy. So according to Silverman, all the things she accused him of are true, but happened over a span of hours and were taken out of context. The acts, according to Silverman, were all part of dom-sub sex play, like consensual sex play. So speaking of that, I'm about to play a clip. It's absolutely nuts. Once again, sensitive ears warning.
The sub wants to hear.
Right.
That's the way, and doing to the sub what the sub wants done to them. That's the idea. Mm-hmm. So she's standing in front of me, she's taking off her clothes, and she says, call me a whore, call me a slut, call me a hole. And she mentions a former lover by name, and she says, he's not even man enough to call me a slut. Keeps disrobing, and I get her on her knees at the foot of the bed. She tells me again, call me a whore. I used to be a prostitute. I should be ashamed for it. And that's when I called her a dirty whore. It's hard because this is a woman who, yes, I called her a whore after she told me to call her a whore twice. Mm. This actually happened. And this is what's been disturbing for me so much. So, I grab her by the hair, I pull her hair back, and I say, I'm going to spit in your mouth, open your mouth. She says, no. I tap her lightly across the face. I say, you're not allowed to say no to me. The no doesn't stop me. Stop doesn't stop me. The safe word is red. Do you understand? She looks at me, she says, I understand. Then I said, open your mouth, I'm going to spit in your mouth. She opens her mouth. I spit in her mouth. And I say...
So for people that don't understand, when you're doing this kind of role play, the understanding is that no doesn't mean no. For a lot of people,
that's what safe words are for. Yes.
A lot of people might think like, what? That's a very triggering phrase to say. No doesn't mean no. That because they're not familiar with the BDSM.
But this is the way BDSM works.
Right. So
okay,
red,
a safe word.
Red means no.
So I'm holding her like this. Yeah, red means we got a problem.
Yeah. Okay.
Red is the sub's means for engaging their autonomy.
And she admitted in the BuzzFeed article that when she did say red, you did stop.
Yes, but that was a lie.
Okay, then continue.
Here's what happened.
Okay, continue.
I did stop, but that's not the way it worked.
Okay.
So I spat in her mouth, and I said, I'm going to do it again. And that's when she said red. Mm. And when she said red, I let go of her hair, and I said, oh, you don't like that, huh? And she says, no, I don't like that. I said, okay, let's do something else. She said, okay, and we get up on the bed. So it's not like when she said red, of course I stopped immediately, but we didn't stop playing. We kept going.
So yeah, wow. And for YouTube viewers, man, the look on Dusty's face when Silverman's talking about spitting in her mouth. Oh man. You know, I'm a pretty jaded guy. I've been around the block. But yeah, even when I first heard that, I'm like, what is going on? I mean, hey, spit is nature's lubricant. But I mean, I think the thing is, spitting right into someone's mouth, it's, despite the fact that people swap spit while kissing and all, it's weird because there's that, you know, there's that duality there, that paradox where on the one hand, people absolutely love making out, right? Kissing, where essentially, yeah, you're swapping saliva. And on the other hand, spitting is considered one of the grossest things you can do, especially if you're spitting on another human being. So I think the problem people have with it is that, and maybe they're both, I guess, into BDSM. You know, that's not my thing, and I'm not into demeaning a sexual partner, my sexual partners or whatever, you know. And spitting in someone's mouth seems like a warped power move where you're trying to see how much you can control and debase and denigrate the other person. But I guess that's kind of what people who are into BDSM, that's kind of what it's about in some ways. You know, that's part of the kink. And I'm not going to play it here, but Dusty also got his hands on an audio recording of Silverman and Dillahunty talking. In it, Dillahunty basically says he and Silverman are okay, even to the point where Dillahunty is still willing to share a stage with him. But Dillahunty seems to have zero interest in talking about a certain topic, which most likely is what went down between Silverman and his wife. The point being, I guess, that if Silverman really assaulted his wife, Dillahunty probably wouldn't be okay with him and, you know, to the point of being willing to share a stage with him. And so I'm not sure exactly where that recording came from. Dusty says he got it from a kind of high-profile atheist insider. And I think it is known that supposedly Silverman did record Dillahunty at some point to try to show or illustrate that Dillahunty knew that what went down was consensual and there wasn't a, assault. And I should add, and this is kind of graphic too, but to illustrate his point that this was, consensual, he also tells how he, as part of BDSM play, he sent R, who Dusty is revealed to be Dillahunty's wife. And in fairness, to cover my own backside, Silverman himself in that Atheist Republic video does not name any of these people by their real names. So he sends her into the bathroom to take a picture of her genitals and come back and show it to him, which she does. And supposedly, even after Dillahunty, allegedly tells her on the phone, I don't want you sleeping with Silverman or whatever, she came back later on to Silverman's door, hotel room door or whatever, so they could continue messing around. So if Silverman's account is correct and his encounters with both accusers were consensual, then the most he's guilty of, I guess, is sleeping with his friend's wife, which is pretty bad, and being a debauched, twisted hedonist or libertine, If that's true and everything was, once again, consensual, then I think more power to him in regard to his future career and all that. I think he should start his own atheist organization from the ground up. I think he's currently got a YouTube channel called Firebrand for Good or something like that.